A stark warning today for the female jail guard on the lam with 6'9" murder suspect Casey White from his ex-girlfriend.
If she is still alive, get the hell out. Run as far as you can and turn yourself in.
The ex declined to be named or seen, and she's got good reason to fear Casey White since he was serving 75 years for attempting to kidnap and murder her in 2015. And he reportedly once threatened to kill her if he ever got out of prison. So now she fears he's coming for her. Just released surveillance video shows the moment White escaped, allegedly with the help of Sheriff's Deputy Vicky White, no relation. She holds the door open for White, who's handcuffed and shackled. They don't exchange a word as she puts him in her patrol car to drive him to freedom. There's a $15,000 reward for their capture. One thing perplexing law enforcement is the lack of reliable sightings from the public. Due to his size, Casey White stands out wherever he goes.
He's 6'9". He is hard to miss.
Former U.S. Marshal Lenny DePaul.
They've got weapons. That's what's scary. And does he really need Vicky anymore? That's the big question. Is she a liability? This guy's almost 7 foot tall, 260 pounds. She's 5 foot.
He was transferred to county jail recently to await trial for the capital murder of 58-year-old Connie Ridgeway in 2015. That was their chance to escape. We spoke to the murder victim's son, Austin Williams. What was your reaction when you found out this guy busted out of jail?
Absolutely, totally furious. I had no idea he was at the county prison at all. And for him to just be let out, it's horrible.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Lauren.
I am Ken.
And this is Paradise After Dark.
Dark.
Paradise After Dark is an independent podcast covering true crime,
Unsolved mysteries,
missing people,
and every now and then an urban legend.
If you'd like to support our show and get a bunch of extra content, please sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/Palmahawk Media. That's PALMAHAWK Media.
And please be sure to check out our website at paradiseafterdark.com.
On the website, you'll find links to all of our episodes, even the archived episodes, our mailing list, merch store, links to our social medias, and of course, our Patreon.
And there you'll find also a little virtual tip jar. So if you want to give us a little bit of tip, we'll give you a shout out on the show.
Speaking of shout outs, we are definitely going to shout out Martine, our bartender in the airport in Chicago.
Chicago Midway, gate A11 at the Bin 5700.
Yes, he kept us company, kept our beers full.
While we were waiting for our flight, it got rain in Chicago. Imagine that.
Yes.
So, but at least it wasn't like last year. We had to fly to a whole different city and drive home.
Right.
So it wasn't too bad. But Martine, hey, thanks for keeping us company. We appreciate it, and appreciate you being a new listener.
And we are going to do a CrimeCon recap episode. But before we do that, what we're going to talk about tonight is a little bit more pressing. We are going to be discussing the manhunt for Casey White and Vicky White. This is the escaped inmate and the corrections officer that helped him escape. And they are both on the run as we speak.
Well, it's really good putting this together. I love to get this stuff out because it gives you some idea of exactly what all's transpiring, so you don't have to try to pick it up from all the different news sources. We've compiled it here to the latest up-to-date information as of right now.
Right now, before we started recording, and we are recording right now at 7:59 p.m. on Thursday, May 5th. Mayo. It is Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
Why didn't we eat tacos for dinner?
I don't know. You're the one who cooked.
All right. So multiple law enforcement agencies are continuing their search for a murder suspect, Casey White, 38, who escaped an Alabama jail with 56-year-old Vicky White, no relation, who is the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office Assistant Director.
That's a big job.
Now, Vicky White was last seen escorting inmate Casey White to the local courthouse last Friday, April 29th, for an alleged mental health evaluation, Sheriff Rick Singleton told reporters on Saturday. but there was no mental health evaluation scheduled.
So there was nothing scheduled, but they were headed that way.
Yes.
So Casey White, who's 38, he was arrested in 2020 and charged with 2 counts of capital murder that authorities said was a murder for hire in a case that went cold for nearly 5 years, AL.com reported at the time. Indications are that Vicky White, who has worked for the sheriff's office for 25 years, assisted in the escape, but it is unclear whether she did so willingly or if Casey White coerced her into doing so by threatening her and or her family or other means, the sheriff's office said in a statement.
So here's what we know. First, we have a detailed timeline from ABC News, which is great. Friday, April 29th at 9:20 a.m., Vicky White instructs a corrections deputy to prepare Casey White for transport to the courthouse. The deputy then removes Casey White from his jail cell, takes him to booking, where the deputy places him in handcuffs and shackles his legs. At 9:41 a.m., Vicky White leaves the detention center with Casey White in a patrol car for an inmate mental health evaluation. Prior to leaving, Vicky White tells the booking officer that she is the only deputy available who is firearm certified and that she is dropping him off to other deputies at the courthouse and would be going to the Med Plus Urgent Care Center because she wasn't feeling well. At 11:34 a.m., a police officer with the Florence Police Department, unaware of the situation at the time, spots the patrol vehicle in a parking lot near cars that are for sale. At 3:30 p.m., a booking officer reports to Detention Center Administration that they have been trying to contact Vicky White to check on her, but that her phone is going directly to voicemail. The booking officer also advises that inmate Casey White has not returned to the detention center with the other inmates. The administrator contacts the sheriff's office, and the officers began a search of the courthouse to determine whether Casey White was still in the building. Over the next several minutes, they determined that Casey White was not in the courthouse and that there was not a court appearance or evaluation scheduled.
So he was not supposed to even be in court.
No. Security footage shows that Vicky White never arrived at the courthouse. After a national bulletin is released with details of Casey White and Vicky White, a witness reports that he saw the patrol car on her lunch break at a shopping center. Deputies retrieved the patrol car but did not find any information about their whereabouts.
So this brings us to 5:30 p.m. About 20 agents from the U.S. Marshals, the FBI, and the ATF, and the Secret Service, and the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency joined the investigation. So this is a large group of people. Saturday, April 30th, Sheriff Rick Singleton announces during a press conference that it was a strict violation of policy for Vicky White to be alone with an inmate, adding that Casey White should have been escorted by 2 deputies given his charges. In her role as Assistant Director of the Corrections, Vicky White is in charge of coordinating transportation between the detention center and the court, Singleton said. The breach of protocol wasn't flagged by the employees.
Now, later that evening, Singleton told ABC News that it appears the escape was, quote, orchestrated. Casey White previously planned to escape from the Lauderdale County Detention Center in the fall of 2020, but the officials thwarted the plot before he could attempt it, Singleton said. When prison officials got word of the plot, they found a homemade knife in White's possession and learned that he was planning to take a hostage. Casey White was subsequently transferred to a state prison where he remained until earlier this year and would return to the Lauderdale County facility for court appearances related to the murder, Singleton said.
Well, Vicky White is an exemplary employee who is well liked by her colleagues, Singleton also said. She interacts with inmates several times a day as part of her job, Singleton said, adding that he is unaware of any kind of relationship between Vicky White and Casey White. Obviously, they're going to keep this kind of hush-hush if this is actually transpiring.
Well, this is the 30th of April, so this is right after the very next day. We're going on a timeline here. I don't think that they're putting it together yet.
Oh, I get you. I see what you're
Yes.
saying. Okay, I see what you're saying. That makes perfect sense. But I'm like, I mean, come on now. We're very concerned for her safety, he also said. Now, Sunday, May 1st, in the morning, the U.S. Marshals Service announces a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to the capture of this Casey White. Now, Casey White is believed to be a serious threat to the corrections officer and the public. U.S. Marshal Marty Keeley said in a statement. Now, in the afternoon, Singleton tells ABC News that Vicky White had been talking about retiring for 3 or 4 months prior to the escape. She turned in her paperwork on Thursday, and Friday, when the escape occurred, it was set to actually be her last day at work. So all this is transpiring. So it's almost like this grand scheme. This is something they've been planning, but for how long?
And there's a little bit more that we're going to get into, but let's take a quick break.
Okay.
By Sunday, May 1st, Sheriff Singleton announced that they had confirmed that there, as we mentioned above, was no mental health evaluation scheduled on the day Vicky took Smith on the transport. This, coupled with the fact that Vicky Smith was transporting an inmate alone, which is a, quote, strict violation of policy, he said, noting that Casey White should have been escorted, again, like we said, by 2 deputies given his charges, started to lead investigators to believe that Vicky Smith was either being held as a hostage or she was in on the escape plan. As we said, Vicky is the Assistant Director of Corrections and is in charge of coordinating transportation between the detention center and the court, so she knew that the transport was against protocol.
Exactly. So she's well aware of what's happening right now. And if you haven't had a chance, please go watch the jailhouse video where she actually moves him from the jailhouse into the car. And you will see, I mean, she turns her back on him. This is not something that's going to transpire to a seasoned correction officer that has moved hundreds, maybe even thousands in her career of inmates between jail and court.
Well, the patrol vehicle the two took from the detention center was located in a parking lot of a nearby shopping center. The car was spotted in the parking lot as early as 11 a.m. Friday, authorities said. Authorities now believe that Vicky Smith willingly participated in the escape of the capital murder suspect.
I would agree with that.
The pieces of the puzzle just came together. Sheriff Rick Singleton told ABC News in an interview Wednesday on Good Morning America. I think all of our employees, and myself included, were really hoping that she did not participate in this willingly, but all indications are that she absolutely did, he added. We're very disappointed in that because we had the utmost trust in her as an employee and as an assistant director of corrections.
Well, before we go too much further, let's explain to people just how horrible or how awful or why it was, whichever way you want to look at it, this Casey White guy is in prison and why he's here. So
okay.
The start of this information is according to the WHNT News 19 in Alabama. Now, Casey White was already serving this lengthy prison sentence when he was charged with capital murder for the 2015 stabbing death of Connie Ridgeway in Rogersville, Alabama. Now, in my honest opinion, I thought that that's what he was arrested for, but digging into this, that didn't transpire. He was already in jail when, according to the authorities, they received a letter in June of 2020 from the suspect, Casey Cole White, while he was an inmate in the Alabama Department of Corrections system. Now, in this letter, White asked to speak with one specific investigator, Lieutenant Brad Potts, with the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office, who traveled to the prison where White was an inmate. Authorities said White confessed to killing Ridgeway and gave details in the case that were never released to the public. So he knows information that no one else would know. You know how they always keep stuff like that close to the chest?
About the murder
Exactly.
of Connie Ridgeway.
Exactly.
Well, authorities said White also claimed he was paid to kill Ridgeway. Austin Williams, Connie Ridgeway's son, said that he had trouble believing the murder for hire theory, but noted that his mother was expected to testify in a fraud case involving another woman prior to the vicious attack. Lauderdale County District Attorney Chris Connolly said this claim remains under investigation. Connie Ridgeway was 58 years old when she was found stabbed to death on October 23, 2015, in her Rogersville apartment. Her murder shocked the small town where people said she was known for her friendliness and willingness to help others. This also instilled fear in the area as the case remained open and cold until White's confession in 2020. The community still holds a vigil every October in her memory.
Well, with his validated confession, authorities arrested Casey White and charged him with 2 counts of capital murder. One of those counts is for murder during a first-degree burglary and 1 count of murder for monetary gain. Then, White changes the game a little bit because then he pleads not guilty for reasons of insanity. Now, White knows that if he's convicted, he could possibly face the death penalty in these particular charges.
So White was subsequently transferred to a state prison where he remained until February 2022, when he returned to the Lauderdale County facility for court appearances related to the murder of Connie Ridgeway.
Yes, if you'll remember back, he tried to escape. So what had happened is he was there, he tried to escape, then they sent him to a different prison so he couldn't escape. And now they've brought him back because he has to face trial for this murder. So they have to bring him back and forth. So it's hard for him to go from the further prison. So they moved him to make sure that he can get in between, which leads me to believe that maybe some of this might have been planned long before he went off to the other prison.
Could be.
I mean, I'm just thinking ahead because the guy's trying to escape from prison. So, well, Casey White's initial incarceration is due to a December 2015 jealous rage regarding his ex-girlfriend, where White rushed into his ex-girlfriend's home armed with 2 handguns. Now, this is all according to court documents. Now, White believed that she was sleeping with one of the residents, so he broke into the back bedroom and found his ex's 2 roommates holding hands with one another, and then at this point he realized they were not involved with his ex. He then ordered the roommates onto the floor at gunpoint, then turned his anger towards the ex-girlfriend. Now, the ex-girlfriend, being the victim, was able to dash past him and out the door. He told investigators that he shot at her multiple times as she ran, but missed. He continued firing and fled out the front door, shooting the roommate's dog in the process. Now, his ex was able to escape through the back door, and the roommates at this point climbed out the bathroom window and ran to the neighbor's house. Now, the responding officers found bullet holes in the walls, the dog was dead in the hallway, and there were actually 2 children who were sheltering in the basement. Now, this event turned into a crime spree that covered 2 counties, one of which was in Alabama, one was in Tennessee. Now, 2 vehicles were hijacked at gunpoint. One of the victims was shot in the arm. The dog was murdered, and that was followed by a chase where speeds in the cars reached up to 100 miles an hour. It ended when one of the stolen cars ended up stuck in a field south of Huntsville.
He stated that he wanted to kill his ex-girlfriend and have the police kill him. Casey White stated that his only regret was that neither was successful. He stated that if he was released, he would kill the victim, his ex-girlfriend. The sheriff's office told Fox News on Wednesday that he had also threatened to kill his ex's sister as well. Local and federal law enforcement stated that the 2 potential targets had been warned of his escape and were placed under protection. The area he's from, West Limestone, is very backwoods. Lots of wooded areas, not very populated, a former acquaintance told Fox News Digital, asking for anonymity due to safety concerns. He knows that area very well. I don't believe they ran to the beach, not without him doing what he said he was going to do first.
Well, I would have to believe that this guy, and we're going to describe this man in a minute, is pretty easy to spot in most normal venues. So having to go somewhere like this makes perfect sense.
Right. All right. Well, here are some of the clues that support the belief that Alabama Corrections Officer Vicky White and murder suspect Casey White had a romantic relationship before both disappeared last week. Vicky White had made some major financial moves in the weeks leading up to the escape. She had announced plans to retire and sold her home for a price well below market value. The home was sold on April 18th for $95,550, documents show, while online records with Lauderdale County list the home's total parcel value at $204,700. According to investigators, Vicky and Casey White's relationship traces back to as early as 2020, when Casey White, who was already serving time in the state prison, was first brought to Lauderdale County for an arraignment on the murder charges related to Connie Ridgeway. As far as we know, that was the earliest physical contact they had, Singleton said. Singleton said Casey White and Vicky White had a special relationship that was confirmed in part by other inmates who told investigators Casey White, quote, was getting extra food on his trays and was getting privileges no one else got, and this was all coming from her.
She was a director, so that makes perfect sense as to how she could make this happen if, in fact, she favored him.
The sheriff said the pair kept communicating after Casey White was transferred back to the state prison, where he was serving 75 years for the series of crimes in 2015. Casey White returned to the Lauderdale County Detention Facility in February, as we mentioned, to attend court hearings in his capital murder case.
Which leads me to believe that maybe he just kind of, I don't know, it's like he kind of came back there, like he wanted to come back because maybe he felt that that was going to be the best opportunity he had.
The latest news released today, Thursday, is that Vicky Smith was in phone contact with the murder suspect in prison many months before helping him escape last week, and that her actions suggest their plan had been in the works for some time. And, according to SpotOnAlabama.com, sources with direct knowledge of this high-profile case say that Vicky White is believed to have tried to pull off the plan on Tuesday, April 26th. They speculate that this was a trial run, and Friday was the real deal.
Okay, so they're leaning more towards the fact that they can prove almost indefinitely that this was planned.
Yep, and let's take a quick break.
Okay, so at this point, the sheriff office describes this Casey White as an extremely dangerous person and cautioned people not to approach him if they see him and call the police right away instead. Now, authorities assume Casey White is armed because Vicky White was armed. The U.S. Marshal Service warned they may have an AR-15 rifle and shotgun, which I believe has been confirmed at this point because she did have her AR-15 in her vehicle, her patrol car, plus obviously she had her sidearm, which she would have been carrying with her, I believe, at the time.
And a shotgun.
And a shotgun, obviously, from the vehicle. But, of course, they found the vehicle, and these items were not located in there, which are standard issues and are to be kept in the vehicle at all times. Now, surveillance video released by the detention center Tuesday shows Casey White, shackled and handcuffed in an orange jumpsuit, being escorted into the back of Vicky White's patrol car Friday morning.
That's the video you were talking about earlier.
Exactly, and if you can find the video, please watch it, because what transpires...
We'll put it on our social media.
Okay, please hit us up on social media, but what transpires is something that is conduct unbecoming. I mean, think about this, man. You're trying to escort out an inmate. She literally holds the door open and holds it there. He comes out, and as he goes to step into the little holding room, the other door's already open. Normally, I mean, they would have them closed, so you walk him into each room individually with doors closed and locked. But these doors are wide open. She's got it propped open. He comes into the room, and she turns her back on him and walks out, and he follows her out. She goes and opens the door. He gets in the car. She shuts the door like it's a limo service.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, whoa, okay, now I'm really concerned either way this plays.
So from there, Singleton says the pair drove to a shopping center less than 10 minutes away, abandoning the patrol car and getting into a gold or copper-colored 2007 Ford Edge SUV. This vehicle had minor damage to the rear left bumper, authorities say. Vicky White bought the car in Rogersville, about 25 miles east of Lauderdale County, and staged it in the parking lot the night before the disappearance.
Remember, Rogersville is where Connie Ridgeway was murdered.
We know that there was never any effort to go to the courthouse. They went straight to the Florence Square parking lot, dumped the patrol car, got into the other vehicle, and left. We assume they are going to ditch that car at the first opportunity when they get wind that the description is out there, the sheriff said. So we're back to square one.
Well, relatives and colleagues of the woman describe Vicky as a model employee with an unblemished record and have expressed disbelief about her disappearance and emerging details. Lauderdale County District Attorney Chris Connolly last spoke with Vicky White the day before she disappeared and said he was absolutely stunned to learn of the situation. Connolly described the officer as the most solid person at the jail. "I'm so disappointed in her," he said. "She was trusted, and she has exploited that trust."
Vicky White's mother, who she had been living with for the past 5 weeks after selling her home, said she never heard her daughter mention Casey White and was shocked to find out she had gone missing with an accused murderer. "As a mother, I don't know how to act because I thought at first it was a mistake. And then, when I found out it was for sure, it was just disbelief. Pat Davis, Vicky's mother, told CNN affiliate WAAY. The U.S. Marshal Service is offering up a $10,000 reward for information leading to Casey White's capture and a $5,000 reward for information leading to Vicky White. A warrant has been issued for Vicky White, charging her with permitting or facilitating escape. Casey White stands 6 feet 9 inches tall and weighs approximately 330 pounds.
He's going to stand out in the crowd.
He's a big boy.
He's going to stand out.
He has brown hair and hazel eyes and should be considered armed and dangerous. Now, Vicky White is 5 feet 5 inches and weighs approximately 145 pounds. She has blonde hair and brown eyes and reportedly has a waddling gait. So when she walks, it kind of looks like she waddles.
Yeah, I saw that in the video. I could see that.
We will be posting photos of these two on our social medias. The subjects should be considered, again, armed and dangerous, armed possibly with an AR-15 rifle, a handgun, and a shotgun.
And obviously, anyone with information on the whereabouts of Vicky White and or Casey White is asked to contact the U.S. Marshal Service at 1-800-336-0102, or they're actually saying that you can contact 911 if it's easier for you. But if you want to contact the Marshal Service, you can probably have some anonymity. And that number again is 1-800-336-0102. And you can cash in on that reward of up to $15,000 if they are caught. So, Lauren, I do have to ask you, though, do you believe that Vicky White in this case is in danger for her life? I mean, do you think that he's going to dispose of her once all of this is sorted through?
I don't know. That's a fear that I've had for the last few days as we've been following this. She's significantly older than him. I don't know her personality. Maybe she's a really great person, but she's not a very attractive woman. I kind of feel like he may just have been schmoozing her in order to have her help him escape, and she may very well be in danger if she's still alive at this point, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and just to clarify, he's not very attractive either, so this could work.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
And not to laugh at the situation, but to add a little bit of comical interjection.
Well, and that's something I don't understand. And I don't understand why she would fall for him and go to all these lengths for him. He's a horrible person. He's a murderer. He's done horrible things.
And he testified that he was insane.
Yeah,
that's why
I don't. But you know what? People don't make sense.
Yeah, to each their own, I suppose, right?
Anyway, that's going to be it for tonight.
Yeah, remember, if you see something, say something. Obviously, contact the U.S. Marshal Service at 1-800-336-0102. And again, if it's easier, just call 911. And I do want to apologize real quick to everyone. My throat is sore, but I talked to several hundred people at our booth at Podcast Row in CrimeCon. In Vegas, which is dry, humid air. I'm not sure if it was a dry, humid air that's talking to people or just the bomb residue left over from the 50s when experimenting. But either way, I apologize for my coarse throat and my mispronunciation of words, but I wanted to get back in here with Lauren and try to get this case out there to get some awareness of it and to compile some information that Lauren has kind of established for everyone so you can kind of get an idea of what's really happening in the news right now.
All right, and that's got to be it.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for listening.
To Paradise After Dark.
Duck, 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 duck.